Today, I'll explore equity financing, a way to fuel business growth by sharing ownership in the company. This is more than a funding choice. It can shape how an entrepreneur builds a business plan, makes decisions, and thinks about the company's future. The central idea is balancing capital with ownership. In exchange for financial support, investors receive a stake in the business. That trade-off can create important opportunities, but it also makes equity financing one of the most consequential decisions in business plan development. Equity financing means raising capital by selling an ownership stake in the business. Instead of taking on a loan, the company gives investors shares in exchange for their capital, so there are no monthly repayments or interest charges. The trade-off is shared ownership. Investors participate in both the potential upside and the risk. Common sources include angel investors, venture capitalists, private equity firms, crowdfunding, and public stock offerings. This approach can support companies at every stage, from initial seed funding through Series A, B, and C rounds. Equity financing can come from several types of investors, each suited to a different stage and scale of growth. Angel investors use their own money, often supporting startups in their earliest phases. Venture capitalists, by contrast, manage pooled funds and typically invest larger amounts in companies they expect to grow quickly in exchange for substantial ownership. Crowdfunding broadens access by allowing many individuals to contribute smaller amounts through platforms such as Withfunder or Republic. Finally, an IPO lets an established company raise significant capital by selling shares to the public on a stock exchange. Equity financing offers several advantages beyond simply raising capital. The biggest benefit is that there's no repayment obligation, so the business can preserve cash flow for day-to-day operations and future growth. It also creates shared risk. Investors absorb part of the financial risk, and if the business fails, founders generally aren't personally responsible for returning the invested capital. Finally, equity investors, particularly venture capitalists and angel investors, can contribute much more than money. Their mentorship, industry connections, and strategic guidance may help the company make better decisions and expand more effectively. Equity financing offers benefits that extend well beyond the initial cash infusion. By strengthening the balance sheet, it can signal stability and credibility to banks, customers, and potential partners. That stronger position may help the company unlock opportunities that underfunded competitors cannot pursue, whether through better access to support, larger relationships, or future growth options. The key idea is that equity is more than a safety net. It can be a springboard for sustainable growth, giving the business room to act strategically rather than simply react to immediate financial pressure. Raising equity capital brings more than funding to the table. It also means sharing ownership and, potentially, a degree of control with investors who provide that capital. The central trade-off is simple. Equity can support growth, but it may also change how decisions are made and how ownership is shared. So, when evaluating equity financing, I need to consider both sides clearly, the benefits it enables and the control I may be giving up in return. Equity financing can provide valuable capital, but it comes with meaningful trade-offs. The biggest concern is dilution of ownership. Every new share reduces a founder's percentage, and repeated funding rounds can eventually weaken majority control. Investors may also require board seats, approval rights, and a voice in strategic decisions, limiting founder autonomy. In addition, equity holders share in future profits and exit proceeds. Finally, fundraising can take months, involving pitches, due diligence, negotiations, and legal work that distract from day-to-day operations. When deciding between equity and debt, I'm not looking for a universally better option. I'm looking for financing structure that best fits the business model, current stage, and long-term goals. Early stage, high-growth startups often favor equity because it can support expansion before stable revenue is established. More mature businesses with predictable revenue may prefer debt, allowing them to raise capital while retaining ownership. In practice, many business plans combine both approaches, using a blended strategy to balance growth, control, repayment capacity, and financial flexibility. This example shows how dilution unfolds across successive funding rounds. A founder begins with 100% ownership, then sells 20% in the seed round, retaining 80%. In Series A, investors take another 25%, bringing the founder's stake to 60%. A further 20% sale in Series B reduces that stake to approximately 48%. The key idea is that ownership percentage is only part of the equation. 48% of a rapidly scaling, well-funded company can be worth far more than complete ownership of a stagnant business. Before choosing equity financing, I'd pressure test 4 questions. First, how much control am I truly willing to give up? Define decision-making boundaries and governance non-negotiables before negotiations begin. Second, where are we in our growth journey? And is equity appropriate because expansion is promising but cannot be self-funded? Third, what does the investor contribute beyond capital? Relationships, expertise, and cultural fit? Finally, what is the exit strategy? Investors expect returns. So align early on whether that means an acquisition, IPO, or buyback, and on expected timeline. Equity financing offers meaningful advantages. No repayment burden, shared risk, mentorship, stronger creditworthiness, and the potential to scale quickly. But those benefits come with real trade-offs, including diluted ownership, less autonomy, shared profits, and a demanding fundraising process. The right choice depends on your long-term vision and values.